Hello, I am Nicola Casserly, and in this video, I'll walk you through the slideshow resource I've called The Painted Church and show you how I've used it and how you can use and adapt it to achieve specific media literacy learning objectives. Each slide already has notation, so don't worry about taking notes as you go along. Just listen as we journey through the process of discovery through Constructivist Media Decoding, or CMD. Now, I am by no means an expert on media literacy or CMD pedagogy. You may already have had training and years of experience in this field. So in the minutes we have left, I will demonstrate the flow of the media exploration I created from an actual news story. For me, the most important factor in the decoding process is the way it engages students in independent investigation and self-directed learning. It helps foster trust and mutual respect amongst the students and between students and teachers. We come to realize that each of us has perspectives and life experiences that color or paint our view of the world, our ideas about how things work and how things might work differently. So before we move on to the slides, here's what to listen for as we explore each slide. First, the questions. You will hear the questions or prompts to be asked of the students. I encourage you to pause the video after each question and consider how you would answer if you were the student. Some of the slides have introductory text and questions displayed on the slide itself. For others, the questions are in the notes section of the slides. You decide whether you will read the slide material or ask the students to take turns doing so. Some tips on student-centered media exploration. In media decoding, there are no right or wrong answers, so it will be important for you to remain neutral as students offer their personal interpretations and to encourage participation of all of the students so that every voice and perspective can enrich the learning experience. Misunderstanding and disagreement most often arise because the student's understanding of the meaning of a word or phrase is incorrect or incomplete. Using prompts such as, "What do you mean by that?" or "Could you give us an example?" followed, if needed, by reading the dictionary definition of the term, should lead to clarity. Next, I will provide factual background information, the facts about the media resource. This information should not be shared with the students as a matter of course, but if they ask a question that does have a factual answer, or when misunderstandings arise that are not easily solved using the tips I just mentioned, you may choose to share. Finally, adaptation. I will highlight the optional slides and make suggestions for additional assignments you might use to supplement and consolidate learning objectives. Now we'll move on to the slides. Here we have slide number 1. The questions for the students are, first, what do you notice about this building? This is a reminder to pause the video and think about all the things you can notice about this building. The next question is, what might a news story featuring this image be about? You can pause again to think what you think this news story might be about. Now the facts. This is a real photograph. It is not manipulated. It's not an AI production. It's a photo of a 15th century church showing construction work underway on the church tower. It was used to illustrate a news story. And in the next slides, we will read what the journalist wrote. So the prompt or question for slide number 2 is review the following sentences from the news story. For each, decide which parts of the sentence could be factual and which are opinion. Here's the first sentence. In the heart of one of Britain's national parks, a village's tranquility is shattered as a centuries-old church tower emerges in a shocking new hue. So for each of the parts of this sentence, we have some parts in red or pink and some in black. We will go through and ask the students, is this first part in the heart of one of Britain's national parks? Is that something that could be factual, or is it an opinion? And we go through each of the sentences like that. You may wish to pause the video as you think about which of these parts of the sentences are fact or opinion. Now, remember to stay neutral. If a student identifies a phrase as fact when it is not, you could ask, why do you conclude that is a fact, in a neutral tone? Slides 4 through 7, I'm going to skip. These extra slides contain several more statements from the article for analysis by the students, as in slide number 2. In other words, we ask, is this fact or is it opinion? English language arts teachers may choose to focus the class on this section as the core of the lesson and reduce time spent on the first 2 slides. Alternatively, you could do one lesson using slides 1 to 3 and 8 to 11, and a second follow-up lesson or homework assignment using slides 4 to 7. And again, this information is within the slides, so don't worry about taking notes right now. Okay, we're going to move on to slide number 8. A couple of facts that I think were important in my own exploration of this were the definition of fury, which very simply could be described as wild or violent anger. When you read through the whole article, the only mention of the mosque is the sentence that one shocked resident exclaimed, "It looks like a mosque." There's one sentence there that says something about a mosque. So we're moving on to slide number 9. And this is an optional one where I suggest that you use this slide as a writing exercise. You could split into pairs or teams of students, or do this for homework if there's no time in the class. So the prompt is to make up your own headline to accompany this image. Slide number 10 moves on to the social media posts. The question is simply, what do you notice about these social media posts? Now, to get these posts, I followed links from the original social media post on my own feed to find these additional shares on Facebook. This slide may be included for students who have already been exposed to media literacy instruction. It is optional. Otherwise, you can just remove it. You may wish to provide the images that are here. There are 2 images here, 2 posts, and also on the next slide in printed format, so they can be closely examined. So depending on whether you have a big screen or how you are presenting the slides to the students, you might also want to print them out so that they can see very clearly what is in the media. And the last slide, again, what do you notice about this post? And how is it similar to the first 2? And how is it different? I hope that you and your students find this resource to be very, very useful. In my experience, constructivist media decoding in the classroom acts as a framework for an iterative process of seeking clarity and continually refining understanding between students. In addition to the media literacy objectives mentioned previously, it can be an instrument for growing empathy and team spirit. Thank you for watching.